Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here this evening. My name's Ann Welker. I'm Suffolk County Legislator for the 2nd District. The 2nd District is the town of East Hampton as well as the town of Southampton and includes the hamlet of Hampton Bays, which is why we're here this evening. I'd like to welcome and thank all of you for being here this evening, for your interest, your concern, and hopefully your enthusiasm for a project that has been many years in the making. We're here tonight to learn about it. I'd like to thank the town of Southampton, Supervisor Maria Moore, and the board for hosting this meeting, but I'd like to make it clear that this is a county road and a county project. So with that, I'm here with the team from the county this evening. I'd also like to mention that I've put in a request for a second public meeting to be held in the hamlet of Hampton Bays sometime in the fall. I don't know if any of you, I was coming from the west, from Riverhead just now. There was an accident, I think, on County Road 39, so hopefully all of you in this room, in the room next door, and on Zoom are able to participate as you wish. So again, thank you for being here. And Kyle, perhaps you'd like to introduce the panel.
Sure. My name is Kyle Swearingen. I'm Director of Bridges and Structures for Suffolk County.
Can't hear you.
That mic, yeah. All right.
How about now? All right. My name is Kyle Swearingen. I'm with Suffolk County Department of Public Works. I work in the Bridges and Structures Engineering. We have our design team here.
I'm Bill DeGarry, Bridge Engineer and Project Manager with GFT. We're the designers of this project.
I'm Chirantan Kansara with GFT. I'm a traffic engineer.
Leslie Mesnick with the Caladium Group, sub-consultant to Gannett Fleming.
Kevin Hill with Suffolk County DPW.
Daniel Rismani with Suffolk County DPW.
Okay, I'd also like to thank Legislator Welker for allowing us to have this meeting and for Supervisor Moore for allowing us to use the venue. We understand this project, and particularly the temporary closure and detour of Montauk Highway is going to have a noticeable impact on daily travel for residents, businesses, commuters, and emergency services. We know this temporary detour route will require an adjustment to your regular commutes, and we recognize the frustration that an 8-month closure can cause. We do not take that lightly. At the same time, this bridge has reached the point where the replacement can no longer be delayed. It is the worst-rated bridge in Suffolk County. It has exceeded its useful service life, and replacing it is necessary to ensure the long-term safety and reliability of the critical transportation corridor. I know a lot of you have questions about why the bridge cannot remain open during construction, whether it can be phased or if a temporary bridge can be used. Those are all reasonable questions, and they have been thoroughly evaluated throughout the design process. As you'll see during the presentation, there are several engineering and site-specific constraints that make those alternates infeasible. Our team will walk you through those during the presentation. So our goal this evening is to provide a clear understanding of the project, explain why this approach is necessary, and to answer any questions as openly and honestly as we can. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to Gannett Fleming to start the presentation.
Thank you, Kyle. My name is Bill DeGarry again, Bridge Engineer with Gannett Fleming, and I'm going to be walking through a presentation that is up on these TVs if you can see them. I'm hoping everyone has a decent angle because we're going to be sharing some images and discussing many things about the existing bridge and the proposed project. Just to walk you through what I'll be speaking about over the next 15 or 20 minutes. Obviously, we're going to look at where this bridge is located. We're going to look at some images of the existing bridge, what's going on there on site, why we need to replace the bridge. We're going to discuss the proposed replacement structure. We are going to go over the traffic control, which of course, as we all know, is going to require a detour for a certain phase of construction. And we're going to go over the schedule of when this is to occur. This is a project that is some distance on the horizon, with construction beginning about 3 years from now and the detour not occurring for 4 years from now. And that's why we want to gather everyone's input now to make sure that we can incorporate any feedback from everyone. I'm sure you've all come here with many questions, and I'm hoping that my presentation will answer many of them. So if you could please hold them to the end. We're going to begin calling people up at that point, and you can ask your questions. So jumping right in, we are talking about Montauk Highway over Long Island Railroad in Hampton Bays. We're roughly about halfway between Ponquag Avenue and the canal. If we zoom in on the site, we're right between Old Riverhead Road and Gravel Hill Road. The existing bridge is about 330 feet long, approximately 50 feet wide. You can see, obviously, the close proximity of residences and businesses in this area. Another issue we're dealing with on site is a lot of existing utilities. There are high-tension power lines that run along the railroad corridor to the south. And one thing that is not immediately evident is a buried utility corridor that is on a very unique alignment. It is it starts on the north side of Montauk Highway, near Old Riverhead Road. It runs along the north. It then crosses under the existing bridge, the existing railroad, and then runs along the south side of Montauk Highway. The image is a bit small up there on the screen, but you can kind of see there's somewhat of a tree clearing there where this utility corridor, critical utility corridor, runs. This is a National Grid gas main. It feeds the entirety east of this site, and it's a Hampton Bays Water District water line. These cannot be disturbed. They will not be disturbed. We're building around them. We're maintaining them in place. Another challenge of the site is the extremely sharp skew of the railroad under the existing bridge. You can see that here. The geometry is very unique. That presented a lot of challenges for the original structure that's there now, and it will present a lot of challenges for us as we work around all these existing features that are on site. If we just jump down onto the roadway itself and take a look at it, Montauk Highway at this point is on a vertical curve. That's to get us up and over the railroad to provide clearance for the trains underneath. We have the existing sidewalk on the south side of the structure. And I'd like to point out the two girders that extend above the bridge deck. These are the main two supports for the entire bridge is carried by these two lines of girders. There's one protruding up there near the sidewalk, and then there's one on the far left side of the screen. Those are about 8 feet deep. They run for the entire 330 feet of the bridge, and they support the entire thing. Here's a view of the bridge that most people don't see, maybe the train conductor. We're looking at it here from the underside. We're looking at it here from the underside. You can see the individual and staggered piers. There are 8 piers here. The bridge is actually a 5-span bridge. The piers that we're looking at are staggered to provide that horizontal clearance for the railroad right now as we're looking down the track. They're also staggered to miss that utility corridor that's running perpendicular to the track, running from that northwest quadrant to the southeast quadrant. I think this image is useful. These rail workers are kind of standing right where the gas main is. That gas main runs down a steep slope, crosses under the existing track, and then runs back up the other side of the slope. You also, I think, get somewhat of the sense of the scale of this structure. It is massive. Demolition of it is going to be a challenge, and it is very uniquely supported with those staggered piers. So why do we need to touch this bridge? It has really reached the end of its useful service life. It was built in the early 30s. It was rehabilitated in the late 80s. As Kyle mentioned, it is the lowest rated bridge that's maintained by the county. We have ongoing steel section loss. We have concrete encasement deterioration. The bearings no longer function properly. It's inadequately detailed for seismic events. That sidewalk that's on the south side is only 4 feet wide, which is substandard. And the bridge is posted for no trucks with our permit. So these are trucks, these are vehicles that exceed normal legal loads, but at one point, this bridge could support those loads. That's a symptom of engineering evaluation, and it's been determined that it can no longer support those roads, and that will continue as the bridge deteriorates. Here's a few images of some of this deterioration. This is actually along the sidewalk on the south side. That's one of the main two primary girders. That's the few feet that stick above the deck. It's a total of 8 feet deep, as I mentioned. Those vertical stiffeners along the sidewalk interface are completely gone at that interface, 100% steel section loss there. And that's what we can see. There's a lot of the underside that's encased that you can't even see what's happening with the steel on the underside. These are the existing bridge bearings. Bridge bearings allow for the structure to move. When it's hot here in the summertime, the bridge wants to expand. Cold in the winter, the bridge wants to contract. In this condition, we call this a frozen condition with the pack rust. The sliding surfaces no longer function. The bridge still does want to expand and contract, and that generates a lot of additional force, a lot of additional stress on the steel superstructure and the piers that support the bridge. You'll also notice that due to that unique skew geometry, the bearings are oriented with Montauk Highway. The piers are more oriented with the railroad. It creates this unique overhang that's very unusual. This is part of the seismic vulnerability. This is not a good detail during an earthquake event. Fortunately, we don't have them often, but it does not meet current standards, engineering standards. So what are we going to do about it? We're going to replace the bridge with a structure that meets current NISTOT standards. On the top side, we're going to provide back really the configuration that's there now with 1 lane in each direction and a sidewalk on the south side of the bridge. Our work site is really focused on fixing this bridge, so we're not modifying the highway east and west of the site, and that's why we're restoring what's there now. The detail that we're providing does allow for a sidewalk to be installed on the other side should that be what the future holds for this area. Our detailing does not prevent that from occurring in the future. Of course, where we're working, we're going to resurface the roadway when we're done, and as much as possible, we're going to improve the clearances for the railroad. That's actually a significant challenge here as, again, we're on the vertical curve already. We have Old Riverhead Road, Gravel Hill Road just beyond that vertical curve. There are sight distance issues there. That curve is actually maximized from an engineering perspective as far as how steep it can be at the speed, the highway speed of the highway. So we're able to squeeze a little bit more clearance out of the existing geometry, but not fully up to 22 feet, which would be the maximum the railroad may ask for. We are coordinating the project with the railroad as it's being designed. Critically, the buried utilities that I mentioned will remain in service throughout, and we're going to be working around them. Some images of the proposed bridge, the conceptual rendering here of what the structure may look like. You can see that it's more of a tunnel-like structure that instead of being aligned with the roadway is more aligned with the railroad, and we're pursuing that for several reasons that I'll get into momentarily. It actually may be easier to speak to it from this view back down to the conductor view. The reason, one of the primary drivers of pursuing this type of structure is that a significant amount of construction is going to take place prior to the detour. We're going to have the contractor on site working underneath, building up as much as they possibly can from the underside until effectively the existing bridge is in the way. So we're going to be building the substructures while the existing bridge is in place, working around those piers, monitoring them for making sure that they're stable, of course. We're not undermining anything. This is about a 50-foot span structure. The layout of this really should not affect railroad operations during this time. Railroad flagmen will, of course, need to be on site, but the railroad should operate as usual. There will be some instances, not in this, I'll call that the pre-detour phase, where they're doing a lot of site work underneath. during the detour phase, there's some work items such as demolition of the structure, such as lifting precast pieces into place. Well, actually, let me mention that. So when the structure itself, when it's time to remove the structure, we've gone as far as we can. The structure needs to be removed. After that work is complete and the road needs to be detoured, we're going to use as many prefabricated pieces as we can. Elements that are fabricated off-site, these 50-foot span units that can then be shipped to the site and dropped into place basically like Legos to make sure that the contractor is working as fast as possible. During that operation of placing those pieces, during the bridge removal, these are probably weekends that will require a railroad outage, and we're coordinating with the railroad early to try to piggyback on outages they may already have. They already have their own work along the Montauk branch. They have planned outages, and we'll of course try to piggyback on them if we can, if the schedule works out. If I jump back to maybe this view, and once those pieces are in place, everything needs to be backfilled and compacted with some earthwork to fill on top of this arch, and then the roadway itself would be reconstructed. At that point, the roadway could be reopened. This is a view from the street, similar to what we looked at before of the proposed final condition. Again, sidewalk on the south side just to meet what's out there now, and the striping as well. Really meeting we're really just working right there on the site, right at the bridge. We're going to be tying into the existing line work that's just east and west of us. So we're planning to effectively restore what's there now. As I mentioned before, if sidewalks were to occur on the north side in the future throughout this corridor, they could certainly be installed there. It would eat into the shoulder a bit, but there is room for them. This is very small up on the screen. I apologize for that, but that sidewalk is 5'6" on the south side. That is an upgrade to the current substandard 4-foot sidewalk, which is very tight. The striping is again very similar to what's there now. So why do we need to detour the bridge? The image up here is the existing framing. I think probably what a lot of us are used to seeing at a bridge replacement job is traffic gets shifted to one side of a bridge. Half of the bridge is demolished, removed. You rebuild the new bridge in that footprint. You shift traffic back over. Then you demolish the rest of the bridge, establish the entire bridge, traffic in its final condition. We call that stage construction. Unfortunately, due to the framing of this bridge, the two girders that support everything and the deep steel floor beams that run between them, as soon as we remove a steel member, this bridge can no longer support traffic. That's the nature of this type of bridge framing. It's an unusual framing for a roadway bridge. Another thing we consider, as Kyle mentioned at the beginning, temporary bridges. So it's actually, I think I'm going to jump back a few slides. I think it's most useful to look at the aerial plan view. Even for a single lane temporary bridge, the site is extremely tight. To install a temporary bridge, you'll have to realign the roadway locally, either north or south. In either case, you have significant right-of-way impacts. Properties would need to be taken in order to do that. Additionally, that critical gas and water line corridor buried underground, the alignment of that kind of spoils the north side and the south side. Remember, the northwest quadrant and the southeast quadrant are each occupied by these critical buried utilities. Additionally, there is a little bit more room on the north side. The utilities are still there, which is an issue, but there's a bit more room. However, there's an important historical grave site 300 feet from the east abutment. It's really just off screen here. A realigned roadway has the potential to impact that for a temporary bridge, and we're not going anywhere near that site. We are not touching that site, we are not disturbing it, and we are staying, again, within the footprint of this bridge that needs to be replaced for safety reasons. So unfortunately, we can't stage construction, we can't install a temporary bridge, and that leaves us, unfortunately, with the detour. Now, our main objective for a detour is of course, safety. all of our design. Number one priority is the safety of everyone. A second objective of the detour is to minimize it, and that goes to what I was describing as far as that early work, working underneath the bridge, getting as much done as we possibly can before we even need to detour the bridge. A year plus of construction under the bridge before the detour is in place. Once the detour is required, the bridge is removed, utilizing those prefabricated elements to speed up construction and go as fast as we can. Now, we also understand that summer is incredibly important. That's the busy time. We don't want to impact summer. We've heard that feedback for some time. The detour is going to take place fall, winter, spring. That leaves us working in the wintertime. Those are difficult conditions for earthwork in particular and concrete work. It's not the easy way of doing things. Building underneath the existing bridge with the bridge overhead is also not the easy way of doing things, and this is all being done in order to minimize that duration of detour. Certainly the county and the design team and everyone here, of course, understands, the concerns with traffic. There's very few east-west roadway options through this corridor. There's only 2 roads that cross the canal here. That's really just kind of the nature of the site. We also obviously had the US Open and the ongoing Sunrise Highway construction. Fortunately, that Sunrise Highway work will be long completed by the time this project comes around, and knock on wood. And, and we don't have a major golf tournament either. So hopefully those things working in our favor as well. Looking at the schedule, we do expect the contractor to be out there on site for up to 2 years. That start would be basically 3 years from now, summer of 2029. But the detour itself wouldn't start until fall of the following year, over 4 years from now. Again, there's a lot to do on the underside to prepare this site to accept this new structure configuration. The estimated time for them to be off-site is summer of 2031. They can get the roadway reopened and go finish up some things while traffic's back on the bridge away from the site. So that's your 2 years. So it looks like 7 to 8 months of closure. The way I think of it is just after Labor Day and hopefully well before Memorial Day. Of course, a warm winter would be helpful. So if anyone knows any tricks for that, that would be good. The detour route itself, again, it's a little small. It's a little small up on the screen. The red line is Montauk Highway. If we're going left to right on the screen, we're heading east. We're going to make a right turn on Ponquag Avenue. We're going to then go on Fanning Avenue and then head up Canoe Place to get back to the highway. And if you're heading west, it would be the same detour in reverse. In order to facilitate the traffic movement through this detour, we're proposing temporary signals, temporary lights at Ponquag and Fanning, at Wakeman and Fanning, and at Canoe Place and Fanning. That should help facilitate movement through this corridor.
Were you putting lights there?
Temporarily. Just for that duration of the detour to facilitate movement. A few more details about the detour. It is a short detour. I mean, as far as those things go, our modeling shows that in the worst case peak hours that it could add 10 minutes of travel time with those traffic lights. That is a traffic model. It does assume that all traffic that would be on Montauk Highway will utilize Fanning Avenue. We are hoping to sign well east and west of the bridge to alert motorists that this is occurring, and hopefully they'll either stay on Sunrise Highway or choose to find Sunrise Highway through this corridor and avoid this detour route.
Can they make like a third lane on Sunrise? Can you guys organize with the state?
We'll take questions in a moment. We're very close. We're very close to questions. I appreciate everyone holding them to this point. Actually, we're pretty much there. We're going to take questions here in the room. Leslie from the Caladium Group, who's on our design team, is going to help facilitate that in a moment. But before we do that, you can also fill out comment cards. Everything's going to be considered by the county, by the design team. It's going to be incorporated into the public outreach record. So please do fill out those cards. We're gonna take questions here in a moment. But if you're joining us online, or if you prefer email, you could email us at hamptonbaysoverpass@gmail.com. That's where we're collecting all the input. You could also mail the Caladium Group at the address shared on the screen. And we're asking that all comments please come in by August 6th, as we're incorporating them into a design report that needs to keep the design on schedule, on track at this preliminary design phase. With that, maybe I'll turn it over here to Leslie to help facilitate questions.
So thank you to Bill and the county for that very informative presentation. We have quite a few people who have registered to ask questions and who would like to share their comments. We want to make time to hear everybody's questions and comments. So we're going to call people in order, and we're going to request that people limit their time to 3 minutes so we have time to hear everyone's comments. If you didn't register to speak and you've thought of a comment or question during the presentation, we'll leave time at the end for folks to raise their hand. So first, registered to speak is Eileen McFallon with HBCA. Is Eileen here?
Hi, welcome to the East End of Long Island. You didn't come in the morning. If you came in the morning and you were doing that detour, you would be here now. Sure, thanks. Can I pass these along? Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you. So our last meeting at the Civic was Monday night, and they came up with a lot of questions. So I'm here on behalf of the people that couldn't be here. First, thank you for having this presentation, and also thank you that you're deciding to have it in Hampton Bays instead of here next time, because the less traffic, less cars, vehicles, anything going over that bridge and any other road is appreciated. So instead of us all being here, you few will go there. We'd like to know what other departments are involved in this. Is it Southampton Transportation?
It's actually the state who's going to be funding it, and they'll be reviewing the design.
So
sorry.
just the state?
Pretty much just the state. There'll be various state agencies.
Yes,
Yes.
who's taking care of it?
It's 80% federally funded.
Will there be a performance bond,
Performance bond for the contractor?
right?
Yes.
How will those few, sorry?
Performance?
What that is specifically in the contract?
What the bonding is?
The performance bond.
Good, if you could explain for the people that
Well,
don't know.
yeah, I don't really deal with that kind of stuff, so I don't know that I could speak well to that.
Does somebody here deal with it?
Yeah, we-
No, I think her question, because I was at her meeting, was more around when you have contracts that you've negotiated with contractors, that there are incentives in the contract for the contractor to
Okay.
beat the project timeline.
Sure.
And that's incentives that a lot of companies have been
We,
using.
the county has
Also-
liquidated damages for such things as meeting schedule, but as far as incentivizing, we can't really do it on a federally aided project.
But also penalized when they're not on time.
That's the liquidated damages portion of it.
Yeah, but other states do it.
Right.
It's in the contract.
Yeah, right. We did look into it, and unfortunately, we can't. Yeah, right.
The businesses that are all along that road that are going to lose a lot of business, have you talked with them? What will happen with those businesses?
We haven't had discussions with the businesses yet, but the road will remain open up until the bridge, so that there'll be local access throughout the duration of the construction.
All right,
You're right, and there'll also be signage advising people to that effect.
okay. And you covered the rest in your presentation. I do have a question. This was in my mailbox on a road, street road, about maybe 2 weeks ago. I don't know where it came from. I assumed everybody got one. No. Right. I found out tonight they did not. So this is on the town website.
That's a town flyer. The county also put out their own flyers. We mailed to 1,600 residents in the radius of the project.
To 1,600 residences in Hampton Bays. Got
Right.
something similar?
Yes, exactly. That were in a mile radius of the bridge.
Okay, but you do need to realize, just in that space of the bridge, that is not all the people that are going to be affected. So maybe moving forward, everybody gets one. And we shouldn't have to go to the website of the town just to get that information.
It was in various places, newspaper, county website, town website.
Anybody? Anything like that?
We're going to move on to the next speaker to make sure there's time.
Sorry?
We're going to move on to the next speaker to ensure
Sure.
there's adequate
That's
time.
fine.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next is Dolores Riley.
Hi. My friend Eileen showed me this tonight because I went to the Hampton Bays Civic meeting last night. So I only found out about this meeting by accident. I would have had no idea. I subscribe to the Southampton Press. I've tried going on many times on the town website. I don't really love it, but I want to know, and I live in Shinnecock Hills. I could probably walk to the bridge, so I did not get one of these in my mailbox. I would definitely have been
You
aware.
should have gotten one from the county.
I didn't
if
get
you're
one
that close
from
to the
anyone.
bridge.
This, when Eileen showed it to me, it's not like it was in an envelope and folded.
Right.
I did not get anything, absolutely anything. So that's my question. I feel like we should be informed when the next meeting is. I mean, Eileen is wonderful, the Civic is wonderful, but I'm not very electronically gifted, and for me to go on the website, it's impossible. And the newspaper, sometimes I read it, sometimes I take it to a friend's house if I go away over the weekend, and I read it there, but I would never have known about this. So I'm just saying, if you could send this out, it would be great. I would love it.
Sure.
And the second thing is, I just wanted to ask you if I heard you correctly. Did you just say that the time when we can't go over the bridge, when the bridge is actually closed and we're doing the detours, that would be approximately 7 months, 9 months?
7 to 8 months, yes.
7 to 8 months. Okay, great, thank you. That's all I have.
And noting we will be restarting the presentation at 7 o'clock for folks who are just arriving and also for the folks on Zoom. But next, we're going to go to Mary Hayes.
How are you? Thank you, and thanks for coming. And I was at the Civic meeting the other day, and we were just discussing a lot of different topics that we were really not well informed on, so it's very, very helpful to learn the scope of the project. And I think you got into a lot of details around the opportunities of doing pre-work and some of the considerations and challenges that you had. So I think that's been very, very helpful. But I think everything is going to be as good as the project timeline. As we all know, we could say it's going to be a 3-year project or a 2-year project, and maybe the detour is only 7 to 8 months. But I think the success of the project is going to be execution of good project management skills. And as engineers, I know I've worked with engineers, that's probably very key in your world. So when we say what agencies are involved, we say the state and the county. Is there a team or some folks that could work with representatives of the town or the whatever to really go through a comprehensive review of the project timeline and then have, milestones based on the schedule that you're developing that could be reviewed with people to make sure that we stay on task? The incentive piece that I was talking about before, many states use incentives within the contracts of contractors so that they can be held accountable to stay on the timeline, because we don't want it to go an extra year.
Right.
So I mean, I would help to work with anyone who would like to develop a template on a project timeline that could be reviewed in interim meetings to make sure we stay on task. So that's just one thing. You know, it gives the public a progress report to know how things are going, to understand that we're staying on task, and when we're not on task, to identify what disruptions that could occur. The 7 to 8 months doesn't feel bad, but are we confident in that it could turn into 2 years? That's something that we really want to stay very close to. And if it's not a Southampton Town project, there's got to be somebody who we can interface with to ensure we understand what's the challenges in the project. Do you do that with any other town with many projects?
Sure, we'll be coordinating with the town as this project progresses.
Well, coordinating or reviewing the progress, like, because we said who's involved and you said the state and the county.
Right, we coordinate with the town, but we don't necessarily, they're not part of the process necessarily.
Well, I mean, and that's like one thing that we were talking about is how we can just make sure we're monitoring the progress of the project. Because we understand the details of the technical side, but how do we keep it on task? And ensure that we're using all the good practices of like 3-shift operation, night shifts, things that would really help us stay on task, and if we're going off task, would be ways of putting us back on task. So these are all like project management
Right, and
skills.
we're bound by regulations set by the federal government too, so we have to take those into consideration when we progress the
What do you mean, for
project.
3 shifts?
Yeah, for 3 shifts, or night work, incentivization, all those types of things.
So you can't do any of that?
We're still looking into that.
Okay, so maybe
But we
that could
don't
be
know.
part of a follow-up, that we could learn a little bit more about those things.
Sure.
Because that could really help adhere us to bringing a timeline in that would be less disruptive to the community.
Right.
So you could take
And
those
with
off.
regards to project timeline, when you are out when we're under construction, there are weekly meetings with the contractor, weekly, and it's the parties are all involved. And during that time, if the county feels like the contractor is falling behind on schedule, we can start enforcing liquidated damages as a disincentive of being late with project delivery. So it's every week, the start of every week, we will have a meeting with the contractor, all parties involved, progress updates, and we'll be making sure that this project is still on schedule.
Right, that would be
And that's,
terrific.
I was on the Horse Block Road Bridge replacement during the COVID lockdown, and that was one of the things we made sure we did, was every week we met and we made sure we kept on going forward, and this is just a common practice that we make sure that we are all on top of, and we definitely understand the impact of the project, it closing the road for 7 to 8 months, but we are fully on board with making sure that when we are under construction, this gets done as soon as possible in as quick as a fashion as possible under all regulations, guidelines that we need to abide by for federal regulations.
Thank you for
I
your
think
comment.
I only have a minute. Like, I have one more thing that I just want to ask. Thank you for that. And also just having us close the loop that when you have those meetings, that information feeds back into the town. That's all. Lastly, my last comment was on traffic, and I was discussing it with you before the meeting. Thank you for your time. I look at Fanning and I look at Canoe Place Road, and, once again, the impact is in one neighborhood, again, in that area. I mean, it's going to impact the rest of the town, but that area around Canoe Place, Fanning, Argonne, is going to get hit once again. So I'm
Thank you
sure
for
you
your comments.
did the flow, but there was one suggestion that we had been kicking around amongst some folks discussing this, and this was looking at Hampton Bays in a different way than we've ever looked at it before. Looking at it as not a pass-through town. Look at it as a bypass town for this project. Has it ever been considered to try a better way to keep non-residents on Sunrise Highway and have them exit after this bridge construction, so we don't even have, we'll have like minimal type of traffic flow for that project?
We're
So
going to call
it would-
Frank Culp. So please, we have a lot of people to get in the next couple of
Okay,
minutes.
so
Thank you for your comments.
I just want to make a note that that's considered, because if we kept the majority of the commercial that really is just passing through Hampton Bays and keep them on that highway, that would really mitigate a large volume going down Fanning.
We welcome you to
Okay,
fill out a
thank
comment
you.
card as well.
Thank you for your- thank you
Frank
for your
Hull.
time.
Frank Hull? Okay.
Answer my question.
Stefan Burrell.
I got a real
Stefan
quick
Burrell?
one.
Sure.
Just wondering, when it's closed down, is Gravel Hill and Old Riverhead Road still accessible?
Yes.
Well, yeah. The other thing is it, Gravel Hill's just gonna be the same, going one way? Because you could go
Believe so,
both
right?
ways, because the whole reason they didn't come out was because of the bridge.
Not keeping it one way there,
The
right?
bridge is closed.
We are not
you come up
altering
and take a right.
anything on Gravel.
Yeah, we're not altering the traffic patterns on Gravel Hill.
Next is Jared London. Jared London.
Hello. I have less of a question, more of a quick comment, but I'm going to bring it up. I live on the corner of Fanning Avenue and Canoe Place Road. I'm the last house before you make that right. Thank you. The traffic on Fanning Avenue, I mean, it's used as a thoroughfare throughout the year. It's not a 10-minute straight shot. People automatically come off the highway and go through there. And it's not just during the summer, it's during the winter, it's during the fall, it's during the spring, to the point that, my significant other and I have to sleep with earplugs in, and it affects our lives on a daily basis. It's already functioning as a bypass. The town has acknowledged it as an issue, and they're unable to mitigate that disturbance. I mean, formally routing Montauk Highway traffic down a residential neighborhood for the better half of a year, you're compounding a dangerous situation. And there's just so many other alternates, like was just mentioned, keeping traffic on Montauk, on County Road 39, instead of incentivizing them to come down through our neighborhoods. It just doesn't make sense. I don't know why this was even thought of. And whoever came up with this obviously isn't familiar with Fanning Avenue. You must have just taken the next through street and just said, we'll just put them through there. So I highly recommend that you come by in the morning and you see what the traffic is like. And you see how this is going to affect everyone that lives in the area. Yeah.
Thank you for your comments. Bridget Marr.
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify something about the closure. 7 to 8 months, we're sort of hanging our hats on that right now. So the businesses that are there, there's a veterinarian, there's Norel's, there's a couple of small businesses, there's about 8 or 9 homes. How will they survive this 7 or 8 months?
All local traffic will be allowed to get to the bridge. You just won't be able to traverse over the bridge.
So they will not be able to go to those places?
No, you will have access to those places.
will have
Yes,
access.
yeah, everything will be open, just not over the bridge.
Gravel Hill, so you could turn on Gravel Hill from Montauk, or no?
What, I'm sorry?
If you're on Montauk Highway, are you able to turn onto Gravel Hill, or is that gonna be cut off?
Can you? No.
So if you are able to do it currently, we are not changing any traffic patterns on Gravel Hill.
All right, so when you close the bridge, we're still able to access Montauk Highway?
That is correct.
Wait, what?
So let me repeat. We are not changing any traffic patterns on Gravel Hill Road.
But what about Montauk Highway? Montauk Highway will be closed.
No, the bridge site will be closed, so you can drive pretty much up to the bridge, visit all those businesses, but you can't cross. The bridge won't be there.
And you make a U-turn on Montauk
Correct.
Highway.
Yes.
In other words, I'm heading east. Now you're stopping me. Can I turn around and come west? Right there on Montauk
Yes.
Highway.
Yeah. You will be allowed to turn around before the bridge.
I can turn around on
Correct.
Montauk Highway.
Correct.
Tom Burns.
Thanks for coming to Hampton Bays. My name is Tom Burns. I live in Hampton Bays. I'm a member of the Civic. Couple of, Ms. Wilker, is there anything with the Department of Economic development that would subsidize the losses that businesses in Hampton Bays, whether they're east or west of Montauk Avenue. My sense is that they're gonna take a big beating. Is there anything that would help them survive that you might know of? Because this is all would be new to me.
I don't know the answer to that question, but I'll certainly look into it. If any of you have experience with a similar situation, if you could weigh in, that would be appreciated. We'll have to look into that.
Thank you. Next thing, question number 2. Your map shows one school, that's the high school, Hampton Bays High School. There were 2 other schools, all right? And the bottom left would be the elementary middle school, all right? That doesn't appear on the map. And there's a early childhood program at St. Rosalie's, which would be a little bit off Montauk, off the main. It's a small school operation. So especially, I think there's got to be a lot of attention paid to the safety of the family and the children that are getting to these places. I live on Lincliff. It's parallel to Fanning. During the school year, I notice kids don't walk necessarily in a straight line. Sometimes they veer to the right, sometimes they veer to the left. The increased traffic on Fanning, whether drivers would take Fanning or Lincliff or Maryland or whatever street they're gonna take, I think there's gotta be some utmost concern for the safety of the parents, the children and their parents getting to and from school. Kids don't go home for lunch, all right? Do they stay in school? So it's getting to school, what time they go to school, what time they get dismissed, whether they're in sports, et cetera, et cetera. That would be my concern. You mentioned the sanctity of the, I think they call it the Indian Preacher's Graveyard, all right, which is, where, like, it's a short distance from Gravel Hill and Montauk Highway. That has to be respected, and I'm sure you paid a lot of attention to that. Because if you haven't, you're gonna hear a lot of things. You can bet on that.
Thank you for your comments. Noting one more time for the folks who've just joined us and who joined on Zoom, we'll be restarting the presentation in a moment. Next is Bruce Dosker.
Good evening, and thank you for being here. Thank you, Legislator Welker, for holding this meeting. I talked to a couple of you about pedestrians. Pedestrian walkways, they should be both ways. The existing bridge has just a one-way pedestrian walkway. Montauk Bridge, one of your other, Suffolk County, one of your other famous projects in Hampton Bays, has only one walkway. If somebody's got a wheelchair coming up towards you on that bridge, you're forced onto the roadway, regardless of what kind of traffic is going on. 2 pedestrian. Suffolk County's traffic record, doing track record, in Hampton Bays. Montauk Bridge, work started when? 1980. They cut the ribbon 1986. It was supposedly a 3-year project. Things take time. Repavement of Montauk Highway from the diner to the canal. Does everybody remember that? No. It was supposed to be one shot. It was supposed to start after Labor Day. It'd be done by November, guaranteed. One shot. One shot got stopped at Montauk Avenue. Waited 2 years. The second half of it got divided in two pieces again. So they went from Ponquag Avenue up to the top of the hill where Katrinka's is. Held up again. Had to stop there because of the gas pipeline, because of, they didn't have a valve, they didn't have this, they didn't have that. So that one-shot deal, that was about 6 years too. So when you guys say 7 months, I'd like everybody just in your head, multiply that by 6. Because stuff happens. It's Murphy's Law. Now, people were talking about incentivizing. And our life, took us over the Throgs Neck Bridge from Hampton Bays on a number of occasions during the year to see family upstate New York. And the entrance ramp to the Throgs Neck Bridge needed to be rebuilt. Big, bad problem, huge issue. And I can't remember who the governor of the state of New York was at the time, but that person offered a bonus to the contractor if they got done ahead of time. So now we're talking about a carrot and a stick. The stick is liquidation, is punishment. People, you're not keeping up to the schedule, we're going to punish you. We're going to take money away from you. The carrot is the reward system. You get this done, you said September, and you get it done in August, you get it done in July, hey, you're going to get some more money. Guess what? It worked. It worked. It was like 3 months ahead of schedule when it finally got done. Please consider that. I think I had I had more, but I don't think I did.
We're going to move on to the next two commenters,
you know, the
please.
most important thing, if I could, this, as it's proposed right now, routing traffic down Wakeman, is an existential problem to our community. You'll kill our community. And it's going to take a long time. This project is going to go on. We're going to start in 31. It's going to go on for 4 or 5 years. Believe me.
Okay, we're going to get started with the presentation again, but thank you for your comments.
Are you seeing a lot of people asking?
We have 4 more questions, and then we're going to restart the presentation. So if we could have Lynn Murcott and Gail Murcott, please.
Are you seeing a lot of requests or stuff?
Are you gonna ask questions like besides anyone on that list or no? I'm gonna hit my answers.
Hi, my name is Lynn Murcott, and I live in Hampton Bays, and I was wondering, has anybody here been to the Indian grave? There's a sign there, very old, and there's a missionary from the Shinnecock Nation also buried. I believe there's an Indian grave plus a missionary, but has anybody been there? This is from like the 1800s?
Yes.
So you've seen it?
We have.
Okay, and will that still be noticeable from the highway? Because my entire life, we always looked over and saw that grave. Will you be putting stuff over it or blocking?
We have no intention of doing any work near the gravesite.
Okay.
Other
All
than.
right, thank you. Hi, my name is Gail Murcott, and I live in Hampton Bays, too. And I would just like to say that I think maybe if you went back and looked, it's an excellent suggestion, 2 things I want to say, to keep the traffic on Sunrise Highway, because Hampton Bays, I don't know if any of you have sat there and looked at the traffic from like 3 o'clock till like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night. It's just a dead stop. We can't take any more traffic than we already have. So if you would look at keeping people on Sunrise Highway and closing that exit to Hampton Bays, I think that would be a really good thing to do to stop the extra added traffic that just passing through. The second thing that I want to say is I think if you're going to have a weekly meeting, it would be a great idea to have someone from the town of Southampton attend that meeting so that they could voice for us, you know, what it is that's best for our community. That might not be in your regular practice, but it's a great idea because their interests are our interests.
Sure,
And the
we'll
state
consider
is a
that,
little
sure.
more
Yeah.
away from that.
Okay.
Thank you. And thank you for being here, too. Thank you for having this meeting, and we look forward to you coming to Hampton Bays so we don't have to travel here in the traffic. Thank you.
Sure.
Go ahead.
I just want to step up for a moment. Tom Neely, Town Board Member. With regard to the question of coordination between the county and the town, we had a preliminary meeting about a month ago. The supervisor attended, the highway superintendent, his deputy was at the meeting. Our town engineer was at the meeting. We had a number of town representatives there. The supervisor has asked that our town engineer be the point person on what I'll call day-to-day type of contact, so that we'll have regular communication. We have our supervisors here at this meeting tonight. Obviously, our county legislator and our state assemblyman are also here. Our highway superintendent is here. I think we're going to have pretty good coordination between the county and the town. It's their project, but we're going to make sure we're involved.
Restart. Okay, we have two more questions, and then we're going to restart the presentation. Ed Gillespie, followed by Scott Cohn.
My question is, do we need to restart? Is there a need to restart?
Please be sure to speak into the microphone so those on Zoom can hear you.
I also want to say thank you for coming and hosting this meeting, and particularly to our county legislature for legislature. I'm an engineer. I know that your engineering undoubtedly is thorough, was careful, thoughtful, might even be original, was faced with some of the circumstances of the existing bridge. So I can't comment on really any of that. I'm sure you've done a job that maximizes the creation of, or replacement of the bridge as well as it could be done. If that's true, and as a person I think it is, then it comes down to, well, what's the fallout, the consequences of that? And if traffic has to be diverted and the road closed for a period of time, it comes down to an evaluation of how can you minimize the damage that does to the local residents. And I was really happy to hear that you had modeled some traffic congestion and concluded that there was a 10-minute increase in travel time. I have to be honest and say, that is not true. It just isn't. If you, first, the time of the year, you've obviously considered that the summer is a peak season, and it is. But it's just an additional peak on top of an already saturated road system. Given the, and somebody commented the pass-through concept of Hampton Bays, there's a lot of people that live or start their trips west of Hampton Bays and gradually move east in the morning and return at night. That used to be confined to a real peak summer, maybe from May or mid-June through September and October. That's no longer true. It is year-long. So I urge you to do some original, careful evaluation of what can be done to move traffic in addition to your existing plan. I don't know whether class restrictions are applicable. You can move business traffic to various times of day, commercial traffic, residential traffic. I'm glad to see our highway superintendent is here, that there undoubtedly will be cases for emergency vehicles to try to get through. And traffic is gridlocked, as it is, year-round, in the morning and evening. So I just urge you to really look at some unique, creative solutions that you can add to what you've already done. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Okay. Last question for now is from Scott Cohn. If Scott is here and would still like to ask a question or provide a comment?
What was the last name?
Scott, looks like Cohn?
Gerber?
Could be Gerber. My apologies.
Thank you for the presentation. I actually am one of those business owners that will be affected by this, and I know all the other business owners as well. So I speak to you today as kind of two issues. One is a parent of 4 in the Hampton Bays area that my children go from elementary to middle to high school, as well as a business owner in the town. Speaking first as a parent, I would encourage you to really look closely at school traffic patterns in the morning. I have a hard enough time even using the bus system, which does its best to get our children to school on time, and that's without the additional traffic. And that's not just a summer towards summer issue. There are times when the high school, my high school student is getting there upwards of 20 minutes late on the actual transportation provided by Hampton Bays. And so going up, especially Ponquag Avenue, which is the main artery of our town, is going to be something that I would highly, frankly, respectfully ask you to at least speak to the schools and the superintendent, as well as the various people involved in how buses are slated through the town. Because simply put, if we're 15 minutes to 20 minutes late now on certain days, this will put a significant change in the school day as well. Speaking as a business owner, I own Uncle Joe's in the King Cullen Shopping Center in Hampton Bays. So I'm grateful that, at least in my case, I probably won't be as badly affected as several of the businesses that are more east of where I ultimately am. However, it's very important you understand changing traffic patterns of any kind changes user and customer behavior. Period, full stop. I don't care what anybody tells me, oh, they could just make a left instead of a right. It will not happen. And so when you're thinking about how best to move traffic, understand that, well, and I went over this bridge now a couple times this particular week, just thinking about which businesses ultimately are going to be affected. Small businesses like Mi Poblito, that's on the corner, which is a local mainstay, right over there. Obviously, you have commercial places like Pooltastic. I mean, these are all businesses that rely on customer traffic. Simply put, if it's like, oh, well, I can't go this way, so I'm going to just go this way today, and everything is going to be the same, it's problematic. Another thing to consider is that all third-party delivery drivers, such as Uber, DoorDash, et cetera, expect that main thoroughway, which is a big thing in our summers, especially for folks that don't just come to patron us during the year as regular customers. And so again, changing these traffic patterns and then adding traffic to the main artery road that gets through to us is very challenging to hear. Again, I speak from one point of view, and I don't mean to disrespect anyone prior to this. I do have material issues with routing traffic directly onto the main highway, mainly because we do rely on tourist traffic, to have our summers made. And right now, it is becoming a year-round town. This is no longer, perhaps what it was 5 years, 6 years ago, where, fall was a bit slower. Fall is actually one of our main seasons right now. I would argue it's almost as good in some cases for our business as the summer is. And so losing things like weekends and other things where cars cannot come through is going to be a material challenge to our businesses. And I ask you to sit down with a few of them. I obviously have only one perspective, but figuring out ways that you could figure out, especially weekends being a major part. I mean, in our industry, Fridays and Saturdays, we live or die. I mean, it's that simple. If Fridays and Saturdays ultimately are the biggest blockades of how our traffic is moved or where traffic ultimately doesn't flow through to us, we have a problem. I'm not an engineer. I graduated from Tisch Film School, so certainly not going to challenge anyone here about engineering. But I will say that, in speaking to some of my friends who work for some of the larger construction companies like Turner and others, they did mention the idea of a secondary temporary bridge. I do realize that you have some sort of and I am not familiar, obviously, with the grave site and so forth, but I would argue that there are certain economic needs that if businesses go out, it's nice to see the sites, but if you can't see them because your businesses in your town basically are falling because you don't want to see them anymore because nobody's visiting your location, I would argue there's a trade-off. So those are my comments.
Thank you for your comments. Thank you, Scott Gerber, and I apologize. And my handwriting is worse than yours. We have a large and patient crowd in the Zoom, so we're going to restart the presentation at this time.
Let's get right into it, or?
Yeah, I guess so.
Possible to they're in the comfort of their homes, and we're out. Can you rethink that and ask to allow more people to speak?
We will have more time for
Jump
questions.
right into it, or? Yeah, okay.
We will have more time for questions after the presentation.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
You're putting people out.
Most people join the online at like 7. They were joining all the time. The numbers were going up and up and up. So like, almost everyone online joined around 7.
Okay.
So that's why they want to run it again, because that's what the flyer said.
Get a comment card?
Just gonna jump right into it.
So we have,
We had a lot of people join online right at 7, which is what the flyer had said. So we,
Online, it's not the same thing. Here we are standing in front of each other, we can explain, it's not the same. It's like sending an email.
I know.
It's not what you do. Just a quick question.
Could you wait? It's only a brief presentation. You could be first. You could be first after. Would that be okay? It's hard with the people online. Please write a comment down.
You make us wait.
Any comment you write.
You give me 2 minutes at least.
The list was completed.
How many people here who signed the sheet haven't had a chance to get
Leslie, did we run through the whole list of signatures? That's what she's asking. Everyone who signed to ask question was
we need to start.
Do you want to restart again, Anne?
Yes.
Good evening. Welcome to the second portion, or as we restart this meeting, trying to keep with our proposed schedule. So thank you to all of you who are here. Ann Welker, Suffolk County Legislator. For those of you in the hall, if you wouldn't mind just closing the doors, thank you so much. Welcome to everyone who is here in person. Welcome to those. Welcome. Welcome.
Sorry, we have a lot of people. The legislator is speaking. Please, the legislator is speaking.
Welcome to those of you who are here in person. We're repeating the perhaps 20-minute presentation, and we're appreciative of your attention. I'd like to introduce, I'd like to thank Southampton Town, the supervisor, the town board, to acknowledge the presence of the Assemblyman, Tommy John Scavone, and then if we could introduce the panel.
Sure, How you doing? My name's Kyle Swearingen. I'm Director of Bridges for Suffolk County. We have Kevin Hill from our Bridges section, Dan Rismani from Suffolk County, and we have our design consultant.
Yeah, Bill DeGarry, Bridge Engineer with GFT.
And I'm Chirantan Kansara with GFT.
Leslie Mesnick with the Caladium Group.
Just get right into it.
Should we? No preamble? Okay, I'm going to jump right back into the presentation. Apologies for anyone who's seeing it twice, but we have a large online audience who just recently joined us. I believe 70 or so. So I'm going to jump right back into the presentation. I'm going to go over where this project's located, what's going on with the existing bridge, why the need to replace it, what we are proposing to do at the project site with the new bridge, the traffic control, which does include a portion of construction that requires a detour. We're going to discuss the schedule. This project is years away at this point. It is 3 years out from the start of construction and over 4 years until the detour would begin. And then we will have some time to take questions from anyone still here and possibly from those online as well.
You need to use your mic better.
Thank you. So if you're here in the room, I'm sharing on the screen the presentation. We are talking about Montauk Highway over LIRR. We're in Hampton Bays, roughly halfway between Montauk Avenue and the canal. Zooming in on the site, we're immediately between Old Riverhead Road and Gravel Hill Road. We are going to be focused on just that site. We're going to be working between those two roadways to replace this bridge. One thing to notice is the close proximity of all the businesses and residences really all around us. The right-of-way is relatively tight with the highway and the rail right-of-way. There's not a lot of room north, south, east, or west. Another challenge of the site is the very sharp skew of the rail underneath of the existing bridge. It was a challenge for constructing the bridge that's out there now, and it'll be a challenge constructing our project. Another important feature of what's out there on site are the existing utilities. We have high-tension power lines that run along the south side of the railroad corridor, and we have buried utilities, critical buried utilities, a National Grid gas main that feeds basically everything to the east of this bridge, and a Hampton Bays Water District line. And those utilities have a unique alignment. They run along the north side of Montauk Highway, along Old Riverhead, they then cross under the bridge, under the railroad, and then they continue down Montauk Highway on the south side of the bridge. You can kind of see a clearing a bit in the trees where that buried utility corridor is. So these are all existing features we need to work around. Those lines can't be relocated. They need to remain in service throughout construction, and we'll be working around them. Here's a view of the existing bridge from the roadway deck, one lane in each direction. Sidewalk on the south side. The bridge is on a vertical curve. That vertical curve gets the roadway up and over the railroad. I want to point out the two girders that extend above the existing deck. Those two girders support the entire bridge structure, about 330-foot long bridge. Here's a view from the track. One thing to notice from this view are the staggered supports of the bridge. They are staggered to provide clearance for that sharply skewed railroad alignment and to avoid that buried utility corridor that I had mentioned a moment ago. I think this view is useful. You can get a sense of the scale of the bridge. It is massive. It's going to be a challenge to demolish, and those railroad workers standing there are basically standing on that buried utility corridor that runs down a slope under the existing rail and then up the other side. So the railroad is kind of in a bit of a cut section. Why do we need to touch this bridge? It is nearing the end of its service life. It's been out there for a very long time. It's deteriorating. Ultimately, we're replacing it for the safety of everyone who uses it and travels underneath of it. The bridge was built in the early 30s, rehabbed in the late 80s. It is the lowest rated bridge maintained by the county. We have ongoing steel section loss, concrete deterioration, the bearings don't function. The details are inadequate for seismic events. There is a substandard sidewalk on the south side. It's not wide enough. And the bridge is posted for no trucks with R permits. These are vehicles that are beyond normal legal load, but this bridge could carry them at one time. It's been evaluated that it can no longer support those, and that will continue as the bridge continues to deteriorate. Some photos of some of the steel loss that we're seeing. This is an image along the sidewalk of the south side of the bridge. These vertical stiffener elements of the main girders are, there's complete 100% section loss at those members. These girders are 8 feet deep. Again, they do support the entire structure. And this is what we can see. There is a lot of the steel that's actually encased, and we can't get eyes on it. The bearings, bridge bearings are there to allow the bridge to move, to expand in warm temperature, to contract in cold temperature. The bearings in this condition are completely frozen. They don't allow for that movement. The sliding surfaces are bound up with pack rust. The bridge still wants to move. That generates a lot of force that is supported then by the existing structure and the substructures. So what are we proposing to do with the replacement structure? We're proposing to eliminate the safety concern that is the existing bridge and install a new structure that meets current standards. On the top side, we're going to still provide one lane of traffic in each direction with a sidewalk on the south side. That's to meet up with the adjacent east and west existing features as it is now. We are also, of course, going to repave the area that we're working in there between Gravel Hill Road and Old Riverhead Road, and we're going to provide some additional clearance to the railroad as best we can. We can't provide much additional clearance because the bridge is already on a vertical curve that's basically maximized for those adjacent side streets, sight distances for drivers. We can't make that a steeper hill. Critically, those buried utilities that are on site will remain in service throughout construction, and we'll be working around them. Here are some images of the proposed concept. I think it's actually best to maybe start from this image to explain why this type of structure was selected. You can see that the alignment of the structure is more with the railroad than the highway, as the current bridge is. This detailing will allow us to work around the existing piers and the existing bridge as much as possible, excavating around them, still making sure that the existing bridge is safe to support loads, but a significant amount of construction will take place prior to the detour needing to be implemented. We're basically going to build up as much underneath the bridge as we can until the existing bridge is in our way. Once it comes time to remove the bridge, we're going to use precast elements that are fabricated off-site and shipped to the site and then dropped into place. Basically, you could think of it like Lego pieces to accelerate construction once the bridge is closed. Another benefit of this is about a 50-foot span is that railroad operation should not be impacted. We're far enough away that trains can continue to run even though we're excavating on either side of the tracks. Once those pieces are in place, it'll form the 50-foot span. Everything will need to be filled with earth, compacted, the roadway reestablished. In the final condition, this looks very similar to the roadway you're used to now. Median in the center, one lane each direction, and the sidewalk on the south side. We do have some additional room to play with to provide additional sidewalk, to provide some additional shoulder. That's gained because we are eliminating those girders that are currently above the deck and are taking up some space. We're not widening the overall structure. It's still in that footprint, but we're giving back some of that horizontal room that the girders are currently taking up. This is a little small to see here in the room in particular, but this is an image engineering section of what that looks like. It's a 5'6" sidewalk on the south side. Currently what's out there is only 4 feet. This detailing does not prevent in the future to come in and install a sidewalk on the north side. If that's what is going to happen east and west of this bridge via other projects by other people, you could easily install a sidewalk there. Currently there's nowhere really to connect the sidewalk to. So why the need for a detour? I think it really has to do with the framing of the existing bridge. I think what we're probably all used to seeing is when a bridge is being replaced, traffic is a lot of times shifted to one side. Half the bridge is demolished, the new bridge is installed in its place, traffic's then shifted to that new section that was built, then the other half's demolished, the project's finished, everything's opened up. That's called stage construction. Unfortunately, due to the framing of this bridge, stage construction is not feasible. 2 girders support the entire bridge, floor beams run perpendicular to traffic that supports the entire deck. As soon as we remove a floor beam or a girder, this bridge can no longer support traffic. That's not the only way we maintain traffic. We do install temporary bridges where we can, and that was thought of and vetted here. We did look into temporary bridges. I'm going to jump back to the actual site. To install a temporary bridge, you have to realign the roadway locally to put the new section of roadway, the new bridge, either north or south of the footprint that you'll be working in. The skew of the railroad makes that incredibly complicated and difficult here, but primarily That very critical utility corridor exists in both the northwest quadrant of the site and the southeast quadrant of the site, which effectively spoils kind of both alignments. There's nowhere to put foundations for a temporary bridge. Additionally, right-of-way is also a concern. Any kind of realigned temporary structure would have right-of-way impacts. There is a bit more room on the north, but there's a very important historic site, the grave site of Reverend Paul Cuffey, which is just off the screen here, just to the upper right of the screen, about 300 feet away from our project. A realigned roadway would have potential to get closer to that site than we want. We are going nowhere near that site. We are not impacting it in any way. Staying 300 plus feet away with any of our work. So we can't install a temporary bridge due to all these reasons. We can't stage construction due to the bridge framing. That does unfortunately leave us with the need to detour the roadway. Of course, the primary objective is safety in everything we do, in all of our design. Minimizing the detour duration is also a major driver of this project. It's really why this type of structure is being advanced. The ability to construct so much underneath, a year plus of construction prior to the detour, building as much as we can while keeping the bridge open, and utilizing those prefabricated elements once the bridge is removed to allow the contractor to move as quickly as possible. We understand the importance of summer. We are scheduling the detour for fall, winter, spring, starting in fall. And that's not the easiest time to do construction work, both earthwork and concrete work. So the structure type itself, the difficulty of working with a bridge above us, and those challenges, the difficulty in working in winter, that's all being done in order to minimize that detour duration and the impact of summer. We certainly understand that the concerns about congestion in the area, we've heard them after our first presentation. It's a very difficult corridor. There are very few roadway options, east and west. Only Sunrise Highway and Montauk Highway cross the canal. And traffic does need to move around locally along this route, and it needs to be signed to allow that movement. So the schedule. Construction start summer 2029, 3 years, about 3 years from now, with the detour not beginning until fall of 2030. So that's over a year of that construction, of doing as much as we possibly can underneath the bridge prior to the detour, which is projected to take 7 to 8 months. And that is accounting for difficult winter weather conditions. Hopefully it's a warm winter and the detour could be shorter than anticipated. We expect the contractor to be off-site in the summer of 2031. So that's your 2 years of construction. That doesn't mean the roadway will still be closed in the summer. They need to go take care of some things away from the roadway after it's reopened. The detour route. It's a little small up there on the screen, but the red line is Montauk Highway. If I'm moving from the left to right on the page heading east, it's the signed detour route will take you down Ponquag Avenue. It will then take you down Fanning Avenue and then back up Canoe Place to Montauk Highway. If you're heading west, it would be the reverse. To facilitate traffic movement along this corridor, we're proposing temporary traffic signals, traffic lights at Fanning and Canoe Place, Fanning and Wakeman Road, and Fanning and Ponquag Avenue. The detour length is relatively short, but that's really not that important because it is the duration. Current traffic models project approximately 10 minutes of additional travel delay during peak hours.
It's such crap, sorry. It's just not accurate. Nowhere near.
And local feedback tells us that may not be accurate. But we are going to provide advanced signage east and west of the site that alerts people that this is in place and is going to encourage folks who are on Sunrise Highway to stay on Sunrise Highway to get through this corridor, and encourage folks who are on Montauk Highway to find Sunrise Highway. So we don't anticipate that the full traffic that would have been on Montauk Highway will utilize Fanning. All businesses and residences within the detour loop and the closure zone access will be maintained throughout construction. So those businesses that are very close to the site, just near Old Riverhead Road and Gravel Hill Road and along the whole stretch, will be accessible. You can drive down to them and access them. We are going to open it back up for questions in the room here in a moment. If anyone has any comments online, it's best to email hamptonbaysoverpass@gmail.com. If anyone in the room doesn't want to get up and speak, you can leave a comment card. Everything's going to be gathered and incorporated and included as part of the public outreach record. The town and the design team are going to review everything and incorporate it as best we can and try to make this project as successful as it can be for everyone. If you prefer U.S. mail, there's the Caladium Group's address where you could mail a letter, which will also be included. And we ask that all comments be submitted by August 6th so that they can be included in a preliminary design report to keep the design on schedule. So with that, Leslie, shall we open it back up to the room first?
Yes, thank you, Bill. So we're going to open it back up to questions. We're going to resume with the people, I have you, who were patiently waiting while we repeated the presentation for the folks who joined on Zoom promptly at 7. Then after we're done with the registered speaker, we'll take additional questions from those in the room. We have a few questions and comments in the chat, and we'll take those as well. We respectfully ask that people keep their comments and remarks to 3 minutes so we have plenty of time to get to everybody. So feel free to come to the podium. Please speak into the microphone so the people online can hear you as well.
Yes. Good evening. My name is Guillaume Dupré. I'm a member of the Hampton Bay Civic Association, and I live in close to Fanning Avenue. So my feeling is that you are treating Fanning Avenue like a road being open for traffic, for circulation. But in the morning, from 6 o'clock in the morning to 9 to 9:30, it's not. It's already bumper to bumper. So doing a detour to a road that is already packed, they're going to go nowhere. So the only things you're going to do, you're going to flood the circulation to all the residential area that is behind Fanning Avenue. Myself, I live on Katina Road. It's between Fanning and Argonne. We are a private road. We are a dirt road, and we're getting all this traffic already. We need to fix our road with our own dime. It's not fair. What's going to happen to that? Our road is getting destroyed already all the time. I think this detour is just a wishful thinking that the people will follow the sign, take that way and that way. They're already not following the sign today with Montauk Avenue open. So forget about it after. All the street up to the school is going to be packed with circulation. That's all.
Thanks for the comment.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for your comment. Okay, register to speak if you're still in the room. We have Patel. Yes.
Good evening. My name is Michael Patek, and I do live on Fanning Avenue. I do wake up every day at 5 o'clock, really loud music or breaks from semi-trucks. And I do think that we do have 3 years to test it, and I think you should use those 3 years to actually figure out and try to make the Fanning Avenue empty now, so we know what happens when you close the road, to really force people to stay on Sunrise Highway. And I think as a minimum should be, through this detour, there should be no commercial plates. I think that's fairly easily done with the signs. And if commercial cars should be forced to stay on a Sunrise Highway because those local streets are not built for that. And on top of that, are you planning to repave the Fanning Avenue after the bridge is done? Because that road's gonna get a heavy beating, and I think it should be included in all overall cost of building the bridge, because
It will definitely be considered.
But, you know, I think we should really limit it. I think you can even force people by putting a toll on a bridge over the canal on Montauk Highway, make it free for all residents. Anybody who's coming from west and traveling east, not staying in Hampton Bays, they should have no reason to use our local streets to cut through, which is happening every day, unfortunately. And I want to also talk to the size of the bridge. You're not going to be rebuilding it for probably another 50 years, correct?
That's 75 year.
So why aren't we building it wider so in 20 years we can add a line to it? Why don't we plan for future? Like you fix the bridges on a Sunrise Highway. It seems like they got a little wider, that you could probably squeeze another line there, which is great for future. I understand that once you get to Southampton, there is no way to make it wider, but I think even for the time being of building the bridge, the third lane on a Sunrise would probably help the Hampton Bays residents. But, you know, building a bridge same size doesn't make sense if we're just getting more and more traffic. It doesn't, you know.
We're kind of tight in that, through that area as far as right-of-way goes. So I'm not really sure that we could fit a third lane.
You know, even if you add a middle lane, or I don't know, so you can shift the traffic morning and evening, you know, for directions.
With the shoulders and the median, there is enough width there already to, if you wanted to temporarily shift traffic to, you know,
Or maybe
from one
that
side
should
to
be
the
the
other.
future plan for our, you know, town. But
Yeah, that would be for the town to consider, yeah.
it would be great if you guys can test it in the next couple, 2 years and make the Fanning Avenue in the morning for residents, so the kids are not late to school and it's safe to go for a walk or walk your dog, or so we don't all have to sleep with the plugs in our ears, you know, because it is bad. It's bumper to bumper.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
Registered next is Geraldine Spinella, if Geraldine is still in the room. Okay, Patty Hummel. Kelly Crowley. Sure.
Hi, my name's Nicole Archer. I live off of Newtown. I'm not sure how familiar you are with that area. When the Cones program is running, I have no way to go east. My option is going up to Gravel Hill to come down Fanning. That sometimes takes about 40 minutes to go in a circle. More frustrating, I have a 2-year-old who commutes with me, and potty training while sitting in bumper-to-bumper traffic is unimaginable. My question is, how will Newtown residents be able to head east? Will we still then be able to, when the detour is on, can we make a U-turn at Canoe Place still? And how will the town mitigate all of the people that will then use Newtown as a complete cut-through? It's already gridlock. That's my question.
So, I mean, I'm not too familiar with, you know, the commute you were talking about. The detour should address, you know, any through traffic that wants to use Montauk Highway to go east and west.
So we can make a U-turn at Canoe Place, and how is the town gonna?
That's the cone program, but the town.
Right. So the cone program, I'm not too aware of how it's implemented. But during the construction, there's no way you can continue with the cone program. The detour route will be signed and operated based on the way, you know, we presented in the presentation. So if you have to go to east-west.
There'd be no cones because nobody's coming.
Yeah.
Right, so we still can
Yeah, there'll be nobody coming
U-turn.
west.
So how is the town gonna change the pattern of that light to, now there's gonna be so many people coming down Newtown like there is right now. We can't run errands in the summer. Like at 10 a.m., we're still sitting in gridlock traffic just trying to go to the market. It's bad, and I highly suggest you sit in it for a little bit to see how bad it is.
To ease the potential issue, we are going to sign the detour route in advance to notify vehicles to use, you know, that there's going to be ongoing construction, use alternate routes if you can. So,
And how is the county preparing to help mitigate more people coming down County Route 39? Because right now, that's the issue, right? That's why everybody comes through Hampton Bays. So what are the changes going to be on 39 to allow that to move better?
So as part of this project, we are not implementing any plans on 39.
Right.
So
So I
it's only-
feel like that's a failure, ultimately. Okay. Great.
Thank you for your comments. I think you were registered. Patty?
Hi, I'm Patty Hamill. I live on King Street in Hampton Bays. Thank you all for being here. Thanks for amending your remark about the traffic flow. I don't know about this room, but the backup room I was in, we all went hysterical. Adding 10 minutes to a ride is ludicrous. When I drove here tonight, it took us, I don't know, a half an hour to go 6 miles, and we weren't in the higher traffic flow. The other side, if we turned around and tried to go home, it would have taken us 52 minutes. And that's a Thursday night that I'm not sure there was any other mitigating circumstances. We asked a couple of truck drivers going the other way, is this normal? And they were like, yeah. So I'm going to add my 2 cents to this issue, the serious issue about traffic congestion. People aren't going to stick to Fanning Avenue. People are going to be going down Argonne Road where the high school is. People are going to be going down Maryland, which is all strictly, it's a windy residential street. People are going to be going down Kyle. People are going to be taking every road they can that's going east from Ponquag. I live off Ponquag on King Street. I don't know that I'll be affected by traffic on my block, but certainly in my town. This is a nightmare. And I think a lot maybe just closing the exits in Hampton Bays off Sunrise Highway would be a big help to just people can't get off in Hampton Bays, you know. If they need to be here, they can get off the exit before. And if they don't need to be here, they shouldn't be here. You know, is there a sticker system? Is there a barcode system? Is there some way we can identify cars that belong in the area and have legitimate business in the area? Then fine, you know. Our roads are going to be a mess after, let's face it, I think nobody believes it'll be done in 7 or 8 months. So what amount of time is that? Are literally hundreds, if not thousands of cars plowing through our local streets, past our schools, past the kids on bikes and scooters and kicking soccer balls in the front yard. I mean, it's a nightmare. I know it has to happen, but you definitely need to pay attention to mitigating the traffic issues. Appreciate you listening. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. The next registered speaker is Tommy John. Is Tommy John still in the room?
Good evening, everyone. Tommy John Scavone, New York State Assembly, District 1. I want to thank the members of DPW for coming out tonight and giving this presentation, and of course for Legislator Welker for putting this together, and of course the town of Southampton for hosting. 3 years away, and then the closure or the construction will be 4 years away. I was curious, why so long from now? Has this contract been awarded yet?
No, we're still in the design phase.
So you're still in.
So we need to submit our design report, and this is part of it, and then we're considering holding another meeting.
Understood. Okay, well, having said that, I greatly appreciate the fact that you were coming here 3 years early and hearing the concerns of the Hampton Bays residents. You obviously are hearing, you know, about the traffic and a lot of the challenges that they're facing in the community. My favorite bridge is the George Washington Bridge. It was built under budget and 6 months early. I just want to say, I believe in you guys. You can do it. 8 months, like maybe you turn that into 5.5. So, I'm hoping after this that I have a new favorite bridge to point to locally. But this is a 100-year-old bridge. I think the county and the community has certainly got its use out of this bridge. So it's unavoidable. And I know we had been talking about this. I was a councilman before I was in the assembly for quite some time, and I believe that this project had been whatever COVID happened, and so now we're here. But I want you to know, and also the community to know, that there's other bridge work that is happening on the South Fork. In June, the MTA awarded a contract to redo 3 railway bridges or commuter bridges over railroads, one on River Avenue in Eastport, That bridge is already closed, so no issue there. But Sagaponack is going to be redone, and the Highway Superintendent knows about that. There's already a truck route in place there now. And then one in East Hampton Town, which is a big deal there, but it's closed. So we're going to have a significant amount of bridge work being done. So I applaud the efforts of the county to do this at this time. The size of the bridge underneath, are you making it wide enough for future expansion if in 70 years, when none of us are here, if we want to, if the MTA wants to put another track down
We
or
are.
something?
Yes, the railroad's forcing us to.
Because I saw the images and the track is in the center and there's no plans for any other change, but
The width will accommodate 2 tracks.
okay. That's good. I think that's good. So right now, what we have been really working on is trying to upgrade the commuter service on the Long Island Railroad on the South Fork. My predecessor, Fred Thiel, and other members of government have been pushing the MTA to increase service, and they've added trains. We're hoping that they add more trains to take some of the cars off of the road. Currently, we're taking about 400 people over the canal each day by train, so I'm happy to hear that service is not going to be delayed. So I had a whole bunch of other questions, but your presentation answered them, and again, thank you for being here, and thank you, Legislator Welker.
Thank you.
Thank you, Assembly Member, and thank you for joining us tonight. We have a few comments in the chat, and then we can take any additional questions in the room. So the first question, or comment rather, in the chat is that commercial traffic should be confined to certain times of day, and some sort of fee for up-island vendors should be installed, some sort of tax incentive for local vendors and customers to use locals to ease outside vendors and up-island contractors. Also maybe ride shares or railroad shuttles to get workers into town, and have equipment depots where they can leave their vehicles and equipment. Thank you for that comment. The next is a question: where is the infrastructure study for Fanning Avenue, constant weight tolerated, emergency vehicles, ? No shoulder? Do we want to respond to that?
So we're studying the traffic on Fanning, right?
Yeah.
Trying to understand the question.
I think they're asking about emergency vehicles and how they'll perform on the detour route if needed.
Yeah, and that's part of this early coordination, is coordinating with all the school buses, the emergency vehicles, and coordinating with them early so that when this project comes, that we have a plan set up.
What is that coordination? Expand on that, please.
Well, it's going to be...
So, yeah. So we are going to actively coordinate with Suffolk County Transit as well. I know there's a bus route. We're going to coordinate with emergency services on how they operate their emergency vehicles and how we can accommodate that throughout the detour. So
How you're not answering?
We haven't started that process yet.
it's still in the early phases yet. So, yeah.
Okay, the next is a comment. Sending everyone down Sunrise Highway is not the answer and will cause such gridlock. It will kill summer for all of our towns, as people will just go elsewhere. It is almost at that point now. We simply can't let it get worse. Thank you for that comment. Next is a question. The current rendition of the structure does not appear to provide for pedestrian traffic on either side of the highway. Will sidewalks and passageways alongside the bridge be a part of the structure?
Yes, we'll have the sidewalk on the south side, just like there is now.
Thank you for that question. The next is a comment about the open house. The flyer doesn't represent what actually occurred between 6 and 7 p.m. The open house is an event that is casual, informational, and a meet and greet for all parties. No one expected a formal presentation during that time with questions afterwards. That's why you have people Zooming beginning at 7. Yes, that's correct. And we do understand we had a large contingent of people. We had a full room before 6 o'clock. So the decision was made to, instead of making those people wait an hour, to run the presentation twice. Thank you for that comment. The next question in the chat, the 5-foot 6-inch wide sidewalk should have a barrier between the sidewalk and the roadway, not shown in the images that were shared. Will there be a barrier as described?
There's no current plan for a guide rail between the sidewalk and the roadway. There's no need based on highway standard guideline for such protections at the speed of the road and the type of roadway.
Okay, thank you for that question. That's all we have in the chat, and we have a nice small group here left in the room. So if there are any additional questions, we can just go to raised hands. Okay. And we'll just go right in order in the row.
I think I have 3 questions, but I might have forgotten one of them. You said something about later it would be possible to add a sidewalk to the north side. So would it add a lot more time to the schedule to do, I don't understand why you wouldn't just do the north side sidewalk at the same time you're doing the south side sidewalk. Unless it would add a lot more time.
Just because it wouldn't lead to anything. It would just be a sidewalk over the bridge with no sidewalk on the adjacent roadways.
So there's no continuity on the north side. So even if you build the sidewalk,
okay,
it doesn't lead anywhere.
Okay, thank you. The other, I forgot the other one, but the third one is, of all the things that were mentioned tonight, oh wait, no, I remembered the other one. Somebody at the Civic told me that when the original bridge was built, roughly 100 years ago, that it was prefabricated, it was built and then installed. Is that actually the truth?
Don't believe so. We don't have records of that.
I thought that gentleman was just nodding his head yes.
No. I don't believe that it was.
Prefabricating it and then adding it in this project would not be possible.
We are using prefabricated pieces as much as possible. It is a massive structure, so there's shipping limits as to how big of a piece you can get to the site to fabricate and ship on all the roadways from the facilities.
Okay.
But we are using prefabrication as much as we can.
Wonderful. And question number 3, a lot of people tonight talked about the possibility of having, I don't know what it would be, a toll booth or something, or just closing it. I mean, I live in Shinnecock Hills, halfway between Southampton and Hampton Bays, and it sounds like such a great idea because there are so many trucks, and all the people who talked about fanning, they don't want any more trucks added there, and it's like they have to stay on the highway. We have to suffer, and they have to stay on the highway, especially if they're just taking a shortcut and there's no deliveries in Hampton Bays. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Okay, next.
Good evening. My name's Connie Gagan. I live in Hampton Bays. I'm going to stick with questions and email in comments. So first question is, can we please have future meetings in Hampton Bays at one of the schools? It's bigger.
Yes.
And it's in the impact area. I live 7.1 miles away. It took me 47 minutes to get here this evening. I could have ridden it faster on my bike twice. So that's first. Second question is, did any of you happen to see the traffic impact of the bridge work that was being done on Sunrise?
Yes.
Did anybody measure what that traffic impact was? So from Hampton Bays, we saw a commute to Our Lady of the Hamptons Grammar School that took 2 hours and 10 minutes. We were leaving at 5:50 a.m. to get to school at 8. So a 10-minute, sorry, that's why I scoffed at your 10 minutes. Like we watched it and it was much longer.
Just to make it clear, it's a projection. It's based on the traffic model that we created.
Right, but your model's wrong.
And it's additional 10 minutes on top of the existing route. It's not 10 minutes total. The detour is going to just add additional 10 minutes to your commute. And that's what the traffic model is.
What I'm telling you is that the impact right now for an hour, normally we would leave, so my kids leave for school at 7 to get to the school at 8:20. So when they added the bridge work, that went from an hour and 20 minutes to 2 hours and 10 minutes. That's more than a 10-minute increase. So that's, I mean, look at it. The hard facts are there. You don't need to model it. And this is going to be, I'm asking for a ballpark figure here. What percentage of your projects have you revised based on community input and concerns?
I don't know that I could answer that, really.
Ballpark it, windage. Basically, we're here, right? We gave our evenings, and we're going to continue giving our times. Is it meaningful? Are we going to be heard?
I can speak to that, if you'd like.
Sure.
I'm just familiar with a couple sidewalk projects, one in North Sea and one in the hamlet of Brookhaven. In both situations, there was a great deal of community concern about the projects, and Suffolk County DPW worked with the community. There was a survey that was done, and then the project was modified as a result of that. The project in Brookhaven is ongoing at this point. The one on North Sea Road will be in the next couple of years.
Okay, I'd like to know, just for the railroads, like what's roughly the number, maybe at the next meeting? Silly, why are you grassing it? Someone's going to have to mow it.
That was just a rendering. It's going to be something
I have
that's
a lawn,
a
don't
lot less
grass
maintenance.
it. Do gravel, do something. And then just my last observation, we're not summer folk. Like, I know you're talking about the summer, we hear about the summer. I don't care about the summer. I'm here year-round. This is my home. And I'll be honest with you, my dog died because we couldn't get the Shinnecock Animal Hospital when she had a heart attack because of the traffic in the morning. Sorry, I don't want to get emotional. But you're cutting our route to the vet, and you're cutting our route to the hospital. When my son had to have an emergency appendectomy, Southampton's our hospital. So you need to be very careful about how you're planning on making school buses and ambulances and medical emergencies have a path through. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your comments.
Andy Morris, I'm a resident of Hampton Bays. If the town of Southampton was to amend their traffic laws, specifically Chapter 312 of the Town Code of Vehicles and Traffic, which was passing a traffic law to exclude heavy commercial vehicles over 5 tons on all residential streets in Hampton Bays, will you modify your detour with signage and warnings to trucks not to take the detour?
I think we could certainly coordinate that with the town if that's something the town is willing to do.
So if the town passes a law like that, you would work with it?
We would work with the town regardless, but yes.
Because right now, it just says any kind of truck could go through these side roads, tractor trailers, cement trucks, you name it. I live right there, and it's amazing the size of the trucks that go on these side streets.
Right.
So right now, it's going to be starting up a movement in town to pass that law. So I'm just letting you know that.
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you for your comments.
Aquay, good evening. My name is Lance Gums. I'm the Vice Chairman of the Shinnecock Nation, the 565th federally recognized tribe in this country. I'm here tonight. My concern is the Paul Cruffey gravesite. I know that you verbalized that there would be 300 feet between the Paul Cruffey gravesite and the bridge itself, the construction. However, we have 400 years of lies. So forgive me if I do not believe you. We have a great concern about what is happening. And so from the Shinnecock Nation perspective, we want to be included in all correspondence. We also want to make sure that there is some kind of letter to the nation guaranteeing us that there will be no construction within that area. And I'm really, focusing on you for this, for the nation, so that there is, a written documentation that there will be no construction or anything within that site. We take it very seriously, and we've had 400 years of basic lies told to us over and over and over again, and so we don't take anything anyone says anymore. We want it written and documented so that it comes to the nation, and we will be expecting that as we move forward. 3 years from now, we know how things change, and 3 years from now, things could change, so we want to hear it. We want it up front. So thank you very much for that.
We understand.
Thank you for your comments. All right, if anyone in the second row will go this way. If you have any comments or questions, gentleman in the plaid shirt.
I'm just going to pass this in. So I was sitting here and I was thinking about traffic, but you're not familiar with Hampton Bays. So if, Charlie's still here, so if the possibility of rerouting some traffic, I don't know how much, how often, what days or whatnot, instead of going south off Montauk at Gravel Hill, at the intersection of where Ponquag, Squiretown, and Montauk meet, they go north off Montauk, up Squiretown to Newtown Road. I know you're not going to like me if you live there. And go down Newtown to Montauk Highway. So that avoids that whole traffic area. It avoids going down Fanning and all the other side streets that are south of it by using one that's more north. Just a suggestion.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Actually, I do have this.
Sure.
Hi, my name is Claudia Gonzalez. I just wanted to add some perspective that is beyond Hampton Bays and the impact that this is going to cause. I live in Quogue. My house is on 104, and I know that the reason why a lot of Hampton Bays is experiencing an increase in traffic is because a lot of the traffic that's coming off of 27, people are taking West Hampton and Quogue exits down to Dune Road to get back and taking all the local roads. So I know there were a couple of things that were suggested tonight about, maybe getting off on the exit before. They're already doing that, and that's why you are experiencing it. So they're going down by my house. So I just want you to consider that it's not just limited to the local community. That's why they're experiencing it, because it's starting at my house all the way in Quogue and West Hampton. The other thing I wanted to say is, no, I think I'll just leave it at that. But, the other one was, I know that the other bridges are also experiencing deterioration. Some of them were closed. I know Quogue was closed for a little bit, and obviously Ponquag. So diverting the traffic from Montauk Highway to, so that they can look for other alternatives down to Ponquag and all of that. I know that that's also going to be an issue because of weight limits. So just consider that the impact is not just about the people tonight, because I've heard a lot of Hampton Bays, but I'm here to offer sort of, this is a bigger impact than Hampton Bays. Thank you.
Thank you for that.
Thank you for your comments. All right, I think we're going to the third row.
I'm Nancy Bowden from Hampton Bays. Now, I think the problem is that when your detour is talking about the detour to Argonne and Fanning, that's already a detour because traffic is backed up on Sunrise all the way to East Quogue. Montauk is backed up all the way. Ways sends people from West Hampton down Dune Road. And then I live on Lynn. Lynn Avenue feeds into Canoe Place. That backs up at 6 o'clock in the morning. Every road that feeds into that is being used now as detours. So to just come in, I don't know when you did your traffic study, but just to say that this is a detour, this is already a big detour, and it just can't handle any more traffic. And that's what you need to look into. the traffic studies, it's not just those two roads, it's all the feeders from, west to east. And that has to be taken into consideration, that's all.
Thank you for your comments. We're seeing a few more questions and comments in the chat, but we're going to finish with the room, and then we'll come back to the Zoom folks. If you don't mind, if you're able to come to the microphone so the people on the Zoom can hear you, please do.
I live in Hampton Bays, off of Shore Road, which is also another they come through Shore Road and get backed up on Shore Road. But my problem is going to school in the morning when they were doing the bridge over County Road 39, 55 minutes to get from Springville to the school. And that's no Montauk Highway, no Sunrise Highway, 55 minutes. That's ridiculous.
Springville to the middle school or the high school?
The high school.
That's like a mile and.
Is
that even a mile?
I think it's almost 2 miles.
I mean,
Almost 2 miles.
55 minutes.
55 minutes.
Those are the feeder, because everybody's going into those feeders to get to Canoe Place Road.
Thank you for your comments.
If I may, one more time. As I said before, I'm on Fanning Avenue. My name is Michael Patek. And my question is, are you planning to work with all these apps, as a Waze, Google Maps, and try to tell them, because I'm sure it's control. We can control any app, right? It's software. So are you planning to talk to them and really make sure that they're not sending people through any other streets than you create the detour? So we don't fill all the other residential streets, because I think we can control the developers.
We do involve the apps when we're closing a road or closing a bridge. I don't know that we can direct them on where to send cars, but we'll certainly try.
Maybe you can tell them, okay, there is a weight limit,
Right.
And try to tell the apps, okay, send people this road, don't send them there. And I would like to go back to that emergency situation. So if the fanning is used for east and west, and it's a dead stop in both ways, then there is no ambulance getting to it. So my question is, have you considered that fanning it's only used for heading east or west, and another street is used for the other direction? So you actually have the options to get a fire truck there, get an ambulance there. You have the Argonne Avenue, we have the Newtown Road, and I think that would help with the noise and, the emergency situation.
Right.
I had my house on fire, and, it's a scary thing. And if you know that the fire truck is not getting there because the road is only wide for 2 cars, then you're just going to watch your house to burn. So I think you guys should consider that too. Thank you.
We will.
Thank you for your comments. The 2 gentlemen in the back row, do you have a question or a comment?
So my name is Charlie McCardle. I live in Hampton Bays. I happen to be the highway superintendent for Hampton Bays, Southampton, and so many good comments, so many not so good. But I've sat in your seat. I know all about what's going on here. So I do have a few questions. One is, do you have an idea of how many cars in the morning go over that bridge?
Yes, we do.
What's the number?
I don't remember the top of my head, but we have done traffic counts just this June.
If I told you 6,000 cars went over every morning, would that be close?
Morning, how many hours you're talking about?
Well, we're out doing the cone program from 5:30 to 9:30.
Yes, that sounds reasonable, yeah.
Okay. So on a regular day, Fanning Avenue is bumper to bumper from Ponquag to get to, and again, people talk about it, you build it, they will come. The cone program we do at Canoe Place is very successful. Too successful. It's sending people through East Quogue, through Quogue, down Dune Road, through every normal little street
Yeah.
to get to the cones, because it works. The program we do in the afternoon on 39 works, except it's killing every side street to get to where it works. So Fanning Avenue every morning is bumper to bumper. You're going to send 6,000 more cars to go to Fanning. When it's already stopped, they're going to go to Argonne. They're going to go to Maryland. Everybody said it. They're going all these other streets to get to the other side. Now, the one woman, I think she left about the turns off Newtown. She'll have a bereave for a little while because we've made her drive in circles. The cones clearly won't be there because there's no eastbound traffic in the morning. So, but you really have to consider all of those thousands of cars filtering through those little streets past the high school every single morning. Now, it's a great idea, the one-way. I like it. But the other one-way would be down Argonne, right past the high school. So
We did think about that, and
You have problems.
being school was one of the issues, yeah.
You also have great ideas about commercial traffic. People have been asking about restrictions of commercial traffic on Fanning. I didn't like the idea because it pushes it to Argonne, right past the high school.
It's gotta be the whole town.
Right. You try to do it, you can put a sign up, and everybody in this room knows, you could put signs up everywhere. If you don't have the enforcement, the signs mean nothing.
Right.
So my next question would be, is the county or the state gonna offer either money for the police to help move the traffic, or actually bring in law enforcement from the county or the state to help with these detours? Because nobody is gonna listen. Nobody. Now, I think, offhand, the best idea is to keep all commercial traffic on Sunrise. They can loop around, get off the North Road if they have a delivery on the other side. If they have a delivery on the west side, do your delivery, but you're not going down Fanning, you're not going in that hamlet of Hampton Bays just to cut through. But that needs enforcement. So we are 3 years away. I think the best plan would be to keep commercial traffic, all of it. Landscaper pulling his thing, if he's going, he can go on the North Road and go around, or he can get off and do what he has to do in Hampton Bays, but he's not going down Fanning, he's not going down Argonne, he's not going down Maryland. It's the only way it's gonna work. These poor people that live on Fanning Avenue, they're getting destroyed now. You send 6,000 more vehicles down that street, you have a big problem. Anyway, good luck.
Let's raise the property value, right? If I try to sell my house right now, who am I selling it to? Who's buying a house where you can get out of the driveway in the morning?
Thank you for those comments. All right, anyone else in the back 2 rows? Yes, please.
Hello, my name is Marilyn Wilson. Hello, Ann. I'm a retired teacher from Hampton Bays. I've lived at my residence for almost 35 years on Argonne Road. I have seen the traffic increase over the years, so it's now backed up to my driveway. I also talk to teachers still in the district. As a retired teacher, I don't have to go there anymore. But they, as others have said, are coming down Dune Road so they can get to the schools in Hampton Bays on time. That's in the morning. Maybe at night it's a little easier, but it is a real struggle because so many teachers don't even live in the district anymore, and they have to get there to work. So people have already talked about Fanning and touched about Argonne because of the high school, but you have all that traffic now trying to come down Dune Road and then filter in to all of those streets, and it's a serious problem. And it really needs to be looked at for the parents, for the teachers, for the staff, and the students. Thank you.
Thank you for those comments. Are there any other comments in the room before we go back to the Zoom questions? Yes, please.
My name is Russell Wilson. I'm a resident of Hampton Bays. I live on Argonne Road. I just wanted to step up and echo some points that were made about Newtown. I know you said you were going to put some traffic lights in to handle some of this. And as everyone's aware, everybody looks on their phone, oh, here's a shortcut, here's this, that. It used to be just residents knew the back roads. Now everybody knows the back roads, so all of the merges are getting filled up no matter where they are. But Newtown Road, people are going to use it regardless of where, but it's a little congested right now. If you eliminate the eastbound traffic because the bridge is going to be closed, why couldn't you put a light at Newtown? Let those that want to go up to Gravel Hill go to the right, but make it so it's easy for everybody that uses Newtown Road, when their light is green, to move across the bridge. It seems simple, but why do they have to make a U-turn? Why can't we clean that up and just let them make a left right away? That's it. Thank you.
Thank you for that question. All right, we're going to go back to questions and comments in the Zoom. One is a follow-up about the guardrail and the proposed sidewalk. I understand that a guardrail between the proposed sidewalk and the road is not required based on the speed limit for the existing road. However, it is rare that vehicles on this section of road travel at speeds less than 30 miles an hour. They typically travel at 40 to 50 miles an hour. With this in mind, for safety purposes, shouldn't a guardrail be provided? If not, how will vehicle speed over this section be controlled?
Our design does account for the speed that people actually drive on the road. It's not actually based on the sign speed. It's a study of how fast they actually go. And we'll take this comment and we'll have our highway engineers who review these kind of safety features study it. And that'll be submitted through the DOT design process, and they'll also evaluate it from their perspective as well.
Thank you for that question. The next Zoom question, while Fanning is the official detour for the bridge replacement, navigation apps and local drivers will immediately start using other residential side streets as unofficial bypasses. During the detour, these parallel streets will all see heavy cut-through traffic. Are any measures, like temporary stop signs or lower speed limits, being considered on these adjacent streets so that our residents and children stay safe throughout the construction period?
We'll have ongoing conversation with the town on how to manage speeds on local roadways, and we'll coordinate that effort during the design process.
My name is Tony Norell. I'm running Norell Market for 32 years. We have a lot of responsibility. Are you planning to do something for local small businesses? Otherwise, we cannot afford to run our businesses.
Well, we're still providing access to those businesses, so at the moment.
Thank you for that question. The next, this project involves Federal Highway Administration funds, and as already mentioned, the project is proximate to the Reverend Paul Cuffey gravesite, which is listed on the National Register of Historic Places. Therefore, the project requires Section 106 review for compliance with the National Historic Preservation Act. Has this process been started?
The process itself has not been started, but it is part of the design process that is upcoming. We are aware of it, and it will be coordinated with SHPO.
Thank you for that question. The next question, is Suffolk County providing any funding to Southampton Town and the Police Department to support dedicated traffic enforcement and speed control on Fanning and adjacent residential streets during the bridge detour?
That hasn't been discussed, no.
Okay, that's the end of the questions in the room and on the Zoom. We're going to pause, and if there are no further questions, we're going to adjourn the meeting, I believe.
When can we expect a follow-up?
Follow-up what?
It'll probably likely be the fall of next year,
The meeting.
as we get a little closer and a little further along in the design process.
But the comment period closes August.
Oh, yes, correct, sorry.
Comment that before you have the next meeting, if you get this information out, I'm not saying how, I'm just saying if you do, with the questions and answers and more complete to the people in Hampton Bays, surrounding areas, you will have less questions at the next meeting. For now that the information goes out from people, there will be many more people that will come to the meeting, but they'll also have more questions thinking of something else. If you have some kind of presentation that can go out, give us information about a website they can go to or something, then people can at least read in advance if they wish. Might be less time consuming on that night.
Thank you for that suggestion. I saw a hand raised in the back.
Yes, if there is a follow-up meeting or another meeting, could it be held in Hampton Bays?
It will be, yes.
Are there any other?
Why is the comment period so short?
We're on a strict schedule to get our design report in to keep on schedule.
It's a really short comment period. Usually I see 30 days.
We're very early in the design process. Well, we need to get our design report into the state to maintain our schedule.
One more from the Zoom. Will there be other town hall meetings like this one? Is there a website where plans can be reviewed as they change and construction progress can be monitored?
It was, will there be other town hall meetings, and will there, could you read that again, Leslie?
Sure. Will there be other town hall meetings like this one? And is there a website where plans can be reviewed as they change and construction progress can be monitored?
There is some information on the county website, but there aren't plans uploaded to that at this time. We're still very early in the process. And there is a plan for another meeting in the fall of '27.
We sincerely appreciate everyone's time coming to this meeting and listening on the Zoom and providing your input and questions. Is there any other remarks before we adjourn?
I just want to, again, repeat the thanks to not only the town and the supervisor and the town board, but also to this group here tonight that's been very patient, but also to each of you who've taken your time and come out and made some really good comments, as was mentioned. I just want to make sure that everyone realizes that Hampton Bays Overpass at Gmail is the email that is will be the best one to use for further comments, ideas, and so forth going forward. And also that this meeting was recorded, will be shown on CTV, as our town meetings usually are, and is also on the town YouTube channel as well. So, and as has been requested, there will be the follow-up meeting will be held in Hampton Bays. So thank you to each of you and have a good evening.